Going forward, table of contents is there. Our introduction here. Thanking you guys again for joining us and doing this season and making this season extra special. Here outlines tournament director and assistant tournament director, and then our paragraph on the director here. In the email that I read, just said that their districts are afforded $275 stipends for this. Also, with your tournament director and you as the rep are running the show. You may see KRI pass through just to, be a part of the festivities and see what you guys are doing and join in your celebration. But we are definitely not there to run your show. This is definitely going to be your show, and we are there to enjoy what you are going to put on. So we got our Special Olympics mission and philosophy here, our vision. Okay, that's page 3. Contact information here is on page 4. And ceremonies, as I was saying, it's an exciting time. It's probably the most exciting time other than play for our day. So you want to definitely be sure you have a master or mistress of ceremonies that can bring the energy and bring the excitement. I'm definitely someone who's comfortable public speaking to be able to go through your script for your dialogue for the day. Past this point, there is a script for you guys to follow if you choose to. You can edit this script, jazz it up in your district style. Go for it. Feel free to make this your own and make it exciting. I am not going to go word for word through the script. I'll just kind of slowly go through it here. You have your roles and such. Your script comes with some blanks to fill in for people's names and such. So feel free to follow this to the letter or, jazz it up to, meet your district style. This is where you have your mascot and school names going on. You guys can read over that and, like I said, edit it to what you guys are looking for to do. You have your official's oath, coach's oath, athlete's oath, and your opening of games. All right, award ceremonies. Let me get my notes here. All right. Each athlete, unified partner who competes will receive an award. Medals are awarded for first through third place. That would be your gold, silver, and bronze. All other places will receive a ribbon. Coaches do not receive the rewards. Players officially registered for competition but was unable to compete because of injury or illness. He may receive an award for the place or finish of their team. Okay, if you have players who were disqualified or did not finish an event, they should be given a participation ribbon. All award ceremonies conducted during the games and tournaments shall have as their focus the dignity and accomplishments of the participating student athletes and shall be conducted in a solemn, colorful manner that resembles as much as reasonably practicable the award ceremonies conducted during the Olympic competitions. Special Olympic awards protocol should be used as a guideline to properly plan and execute your presentations. Because these tournaments are unified competitions, unified medals and ribbons will be presented. Unified awards have the Unified Sports logo, which you can see there on the screen. Right. Awards protocol. Personnel must be in place and alert to setting up table for the ceremony without undue delay. And there's suggestions for a table. At least 1 6-foot table should be used to hold the awards. Should appropriately be draped with Special Olympics tablecloth if possible. And that talks about how you can prepare your awards trays. When possible, law enforcement or other honored Guest VIPs will present awards if a member of law enforcement is available. Officers have priority because of Special Olympics' long-standing relationship with law enforcement worldwide. So if you guys are doing this at your schools and you have your school resource officer available, that's a really great person to help hand out awards. Item 5 here gives you kind of a brief overview of how to do the presentation. Number 17 will process single file. The processional should be led by an escort who will ensure proper positioning of the teams. If at all possible, when the team stops in the award presentation area, the team should be arranged shoulder to shoulder. So 13 has some nice guidelines there for you on awards presentation. The Olympic fanfare music should be signaled to start once the processional is ready. When athletes have reached their respective positions, the music should stop and the announcer should begin. So one team is processed and the next team is escorted to the on-deck area, ready to process once the team is ahead of it recesses. If all possible, a Special Olympics or Unified Sports banner should hang behind the awards area or scenic background. Note, student athletes need to be free within reason of jackets, headwear that is not team issued, street clothing, headset, radio, cell phones, etc. Student athletes should remain in their uniforms and look presentable. Just something to kind of flash back to from our season manual. During play, especially, there should be no cell phones of any kind or headphones for music unless that is a designated accommodation for the student. All right, went through that. Here's your announcer script. Like I said, I'm not going to read this word for word, but for your people who are announcing, it'll be good for them to look at this. And like I said, you guys can, change this up to meet your district style. Here and here. Mascots. These next pages are your listings of your mascots from across your different districts here. Uh, 17 and 18. So if you're tournament management, there's no charge for admission to our events, no parking fees, no fees of any kind. Artificial noisemakers are not allowed. We have athletes who are sensitive to this noise, and it's just overall distracting for play and presentation. Your national anthem will be played during the opening ceremony. Your host institution may provide a color guard if available. One thing to keep in mind, the neutrality section here, host institutions. So, high schools that are hosting this is not a home meet or home game for the school. It is a neutral setting. So there are no home teams for this. No alcohol beverages allowed to be sold, dispensed, or consumed on site. Tobacco is strictly prohibited on Maryland public school campuses. Concessions can be sold, food and beverage, but your prices should be no higher than similar events or primary tenants in the competition site. Be sure you guys have directional signs posted for people, so people know where they're going or how to get to their courts or how to be able to see their athletes play. That's very important. Just real quick at the conclusion of this, we will do questions. I'm just not going to go on and on and on, and I'll open this up for questions when we get there. Page 20, we have our section 3 of competition management. For our gold medalist allocations, as stated in the 2018-2019 Unified Indoor Bocce Coaches Resource Guide, each school system is assigned to a district. Each district receives an allocation of teams, gold medalists, who will advance to the 2019 Interscholastic Unified Indoor Bocce State High School Championship on Tuesday, February 12th at Hagerstown Community College. These allocations are proportionate to the number of teams training statewide. The allocations will be distributed to each individual tournament director once they are determined. Supplement A is going to cover your coaches meeting. So your tournament director will conduct a brief coaches meeting on site prior to the opening ceremony. And your sample A is that example agenda. The playing roster must be consistent with the roster as it appears on the Interscholastic Bocce postseason registration. Scratches are permissible, though. Each tournament is subject to a particular time restriction, space restraints, etc. Therefore, the tournament directors are to work cooperatively with Unified Bocce Chair, that's me, to create a competition brackets which best suit the time and space accommodations. Ideally, one bracket will be created for each gold medalist allocation. However, if the number of competing teams is too few to allow for viable competition using this format, the tournament director and the Bocce Chair may determine an alternative advancement criteria. For example, allowing silver medalists to advance. Alternative advancement criteria must be approved by the Unified Bocce Chair. If it's looking like any of that's going to come up, guys, please definitely get a hold of me so we can figure that out. Match results, it is preferred that a game is complete when either one team reaches the winning point total of 16 or the previous designated time limit has elapsed. However, due to time and space restrictions, the tournament director may choose to reduce the total points or time limit. Each team shall play no less than 2 matches. If the score remains tied at the end of regulation, the teams will continue the match. Play will continue until a winner is determined at the end of each complete frame. If a team hasn't earned the winning point total prior to the expiration of regulation time, the tournament director, his or her designee, or the court official will announce last frame with 1 minute remaining in regulation or the expiration of time. Once the last frame has been announced, no additional frames will commence unless there is a tie. At the discretion of the tournament director, he or she may add additional time to the regulation time allocation if he or she believes the team is delaying the progress of a match. Right. Athletes, unified partners, and coaches have trained and worked very hard for the players to have the opportunity to showcase their skills at this advanced competition. Every effort must be made to uphold the integrity of competition, including maintaining the rules. Control center. A control center area must be designated. This area must be equipped with at least 2 banquet 6 to 8 feet tables, preferably covered by a tent. This location should serve as a team check-in and score reporting. The control center must have a public address system in order to make general announcements and to stage doubles teams prior to accessing the courts. I think these just need to be clearly marked. I don't think, since we are indoor, that a tent is absolutely necessary. But just be sure that there is no mistaking where your control center is. Results, tournament director shall determine an orderly and efficient way of receiving, tabulating, and posting match results and overall scoring. And you want to definitely retain all score sheets and brackets, just in case there's any kind of discrepancies. Scratches need to be reported when the head coach checks in. If players are absent, alternates are not allowed. The coach may substitute a player. However, the match will be considered an exhibition, and the opponent will receive credit for the victory. If there is any reason for any kind of protest, it must be filed within 15 minutes of the completion of a match. Players or coaches can protest a misinterpretation of a rule, but not a judgment call. Protests are to be submitted in writing to the control tent or control center. Sports Rules Committee will review the protest on site and deliver a decision. The Sports Rules Committee shall be determined prior to opening ceremony and consists of 2 coaches and the tournament director or his or her designee. If possible, include 1 athlete and 1 partner. Parties are expected to recuse themselves if their affiliate school is involved in the protest or the or competition under protest. So basically, just be sure if you're going to have coaches involved that they're not playing in their teams are not playing in the current game, and in order to keep everything nice and neutral. Host institutions are to abide by their athletics department medical coverage requirements. Host institutions' procedures for circumstances requiring emergency evacuation of the competition site or interruption will be utilized. The tournament director and other host institution staff shall review these procedures and protocols prior to the tournament. Under the threat of inclement weather, the decision to postpone the competition will occur at least 5 hours prior to the opening ceremony start time. Under the discretion of the tournament director and Unified Bocce chair, the decision may be made sooner. The tournament director and the Unified Bocce chair work together to properly communicate postponements via email. This includes communications regarding threats of postponements. The tournament director and the Unified Bocce chair are highly encouraged to email all coaches at least one business day prior to the competition to address the anticipated timeline of the event. If we are to have weather, definitely get a hold of me as soon as possible. In the contact, you also have a number for me. So if weather's looking like it's an issue, and I keep pretty close track of that anyway, but feel free to shoot me an email and even a text or a phone call, just to make sure that I am checking that and looking at that, so we can make our decisions, in a timely manner. All right, so we have our page 23, excuse me, is our district bocce tournament checklist. So you want to check off and make sure that communication with participating teams. You want to be sure you send out announcements to coaches of participating teams prior to tournament. Your topics to address, but are not limited to the start time and date. Equipment plan, who's bringing what equipment. Competition schedule. Driving directions, tournament locations within the school, and food service plan, if there's going to be concessions or what kind of food options are going to be there. Medical personnel, host institutions are to abide by their athletic department medical coverage. Kind of went over that already. Be sure your signage is posted to where people can see where they're going. Make sure you have adequate water stations, so that access to the water is easy, and there's plenty of them. Ensure you have your PA system working good. Whatever you're making announcements on is working good. Just looking real quick. I know they don't necessarily address it. We might address it coming down here. Ceremonies, opening ceremony. We have a script available, national anthem, color guard and such. Just make sure you guys have that ready to go. Competition, for your officials, ideally you identify independent and bocce knowledgeable people to serve as officials. However, if individuals are not available, coaches may serve as the officials. Supplement A is going to be your training for bocce officials. A common clock, such as a gymnasium scoreboard, can be used for all courts. However, if there is a lull in play, such as a dispute or restroom break, additional time may be at the discretion of the tournament director. With your scoring clocks too, some of you who've been doing this for a little bit, already know this, but for anyone who's new, if you do have any athletes or you have any chance of athletes that are going to be sensitive to sound, maybe figure out a way to, when you call your last frame, to be wary of that buzzer, just so we can not have our athletes, have that very loud noise, potentially ruin their time. Score of each match needs to be displayed at all times. Ideally, a written record of score will be maintained as well using supplement B, Unified Bocce score sheet, or a similar variation. This is your postseason registration form. So you want to be sure that, the teams you are bringing are the same makeup as what you put on these forms. If there are any scratches of any kind, you'll have to identify those, and they will be marked as appropriate. Page 25. For your court markings, Having tape to mark your lines is nice. Cones are really great. It helps you see the boundaries really well. So they're to indicate your footfall lines in half court, as you see in the diagram. All right, so we're into our supplements here. So this is, your sample pregame timeline. You can edit as it goes for your particular tournament. Your supplement B here is your quick reference guide. I'm not going to go through this. We went through this with the Bocce Coaches Resource Guide, but this is a nice quick reference in case there's any kind of dispute or any kind of question. You can go straight to this, and it should be able to, answer whatever you're looking for here. Supplement C here is your score sheet, sideways here. And just so you note that you're assigning lines at the bottom. We got to be sure we get those signed. So when at the conclusion of play, your coaches review and sign, and your official, whoever is running the game, will sign as well. Supplement D is your brackets here. And if you take note, these go up in order from sort of your starting rounds, all right, to your playoff rounds. This one's for your extra playoff round if needed. Okay, another sheet for your brackets here. More examples for your brackets here in the supplement. And then finally a notes section, and then our sponsors. All right, that is a review of our book. I'm going to switch over to our controls here. So far, switch to our controls here. I'm going to try to turn on audio and see if we have any questions. Okay, I hit the unmute. Self-mute. All right, I've opened. Okay, so I have hit the unmute. I think. Yep. All right. Question time. If you guys have any kind of questions about what I've gone over, or maybe I didn't hit a point, this is your time. All right. Any questions at all?
Thanks, Chase.
No problem. No problem at all. All right, guys. Well, if we don't have any questions, if you look in the contact, my email is there, Kara's email is there, along with phone numbers and contact information. As we get closer to our tournaments, if anything comes up, any sort of questions, concerns, or whatever, please contact us and let me know what's going on. And then that is it. So thank you for joining me for this. I will post the recording of this in the Google folder here momentarily. As soon as I can download it, I'll set it up there. And that is it. Have a good evening, guys. Thank you.